Hi friends, what's up? So I'm gonna make this video as quick as possible. It'll probably be 10 to 12 minutes. That's a goal, 10 to 12 minutes or less. It's gonna be a brief book review. This is not fancy editing, no fancy production because I am in the process of traveling right now. But I want to get this out of my hands and leave it here. So this book is actually not the one. If you watch my last video, which I'll link it either here or here, it was Before Love's in View. I think that's what the name was of the book. And at the end of that book review, I discussed that I was going to read Grow with Your Money or something like that. Yeah, I did not read that. Instead, I decided to read this. This book was published in 2000, excuse me, 5. It says sex is not a four-letter word, but relationship oftentimes is. So when I got this book, I thought it would be a book about intimacy, which yes, it was a book about intimacy. And I thought it would cover more of like relationships. Baby, this book is about how to be like loose, okay? How to get loose and be okay with being loose. This was not what I was expecting at all, especially from a book that was published in 2005. So I'm just gonna hit a couple of the highlights from certain chapters. I'm not gonna cover every chapter, just the main takeaways. Because honestly, the book, the way it's written, baby, I would get blocked off of YouTube if I read some of these chapters. Okay. So I wanna one chapter or section, because these aren't even full chapters. So like one section that caught my attention and really got me into reading this book is when it's saying human or humanoid, which one are you? So this made me think about people versus demons, like biblically, because it talks about a human is a person who they pretty much play the blame game. Like they're like, it wasn't me, it was your fault, that's not my problem, figure it out, da da da, rat a tat tat, right? But a humanoid is a person who first does a self assessment, like, where did I go wrong in this? How could I have done this better? And that made me kind of view myself a little different because it's like, well, dang, that's me. Like, I'm a person, before I immediately blame another person, I always internally reflect, like, where did I fail? How could I have done this better? Like, my marriage, right? I am quick to own like I was a good wife, but I could have been a better wife because I could have taken more interest in the things that he was actually interested in. When getting mad at him, I shouldn't have got mad at him publicly. I do some self reflection, right? So I really like that part of the chapter because for people who are not like that, hopefully when they read it, it makes them kind of realize like, oh, I should probably do a little bit of self reflection before I immediately be like, it's your fault. You did this to me. Rat a tat tat. I don't know. Right now, that's my thing. Like rat a tat tat. Um, the other part I like is embodiment. There was a section here. So the section starts off with most spiritual teachings, most churches and religions talk about how your body is a bad thing. They teach about the sins of the flesh and view embodiment as a negative state of affairs. Negative. Okay, I feel like that is not correct. This person has not read the Bible because it says our body is a temple. That's a good thing. Like, take care of your body, treasure it. It teaches, especially if you read Solomon, he be getting in it. The Songs of Solomon, he be up in there. Okay, I believe the Bible embraces our body, but it tells us we should take care of it. It's like there's a Proverbs. I can't think of it from the top of my head, the exact numbers, but it says, "Do not spill your water into the streets." Pretty much, don't be wasting your coochie on people. That's how I view that. Okay, like you do not need to be just out here giving your coochie out to everybody. Okay, I say coochie because it's me. um, but yeah, so pretty much I'm like, that's not. It doesn't teach that that's it's a bad thing. It teaches you self discipline. It teaches you control. It teaches you that you're like you are not for everybody, and it's okay. Versus this book, it's like if you want to have sex with a man, have sex with a man. If you want to have sex with a girl, have sex with a girl. Like it's cocoa bananas. So I didn't agree with that. The next highlight is what defines sex. So biblically, y'all shouldn't be having sex, all right? Not just y'all, I shouldn't be having sex either. Nobody should be having sex if it ain't your man, if it ain't your husband, if it ain't your wife, okay? Nah, okay? But it says, it defines sex as 5 elements of sex are sensuality, sex, copulation, sexualness, and sexuality. And I sat and I was like, you don't say. You know, because like I didn't think of it that way. I didn't think of sex as being like five different things, um, which I thought could be good for people, especially like people who have that type of trauma, because if you look at it from a 5 point perspective, you can take ownership of the other ones depending on how you feel and how you handled your trauma and your violation. So it kind of made me look at it from a different lens. If that makes sense, I'm not trying to trauma dump, so we're gonna breeze right through that. Okay. um, this section, the simultaneity. Look, first off, I'm college educated. Okay, that word's just hard to pronounce. Okay, English is not my subject, and I did my public speaking class online, so don't come for me unless I stand for you. But pretty much it's like gifting and receiving, the give and take. Anywho, um, what I like about this concept of the give and take is this just doesn't apply to sex, especially if you have someone who has had a not so soft life, like a person who is hyper, they call it hyper independent women. I really honestly believe that's a trauma response. People who have pretty much had to figure out life and do life on their own a lot, they don't know how to receive when someone is like, here you go. Here, I'll give you all of me. I'll give you the good, the bad, the happy, the sad. I'll give you some cookies. I'll give you some cake. So, and then when people do give that to us, we have this intense, like, I have to give them something back. Kind of like when a person gives you a compliment and you're like, some people will be like, oh, thank you. That's so nice. Or you'll be a person that'll be like, oh, thanks. I like your shirt. Like learn to just soak it in, right? Don't become arrogant and cocky. But this does talk about how like you need to be a good lover, to be a good person. You need to be able to learn how to receive. If you want things to happen in your life, you have to be open and able to receive those without feeling the need to like, oh, I have to give something back. And then the last one, look, y'all, I told y'all 10 minutes. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. The last one, this was probably my favorite section, is intimacy. Intimacy, how intimacy was broken down. So many people relate intimacy to sex, closeness, but in this section of the book, and this is probably the longest section because I think this is like 5 pages. Intimacy is defined as honor, trust, allowance, vulnerability, and gratitude. Of these, my favorite was probably honor and allowance. So, honor is knowing that you're going to do what's best for you, but also honoring your partner and yourself and everything you do. So then, kind of makes you think about people who cheat. Like, if you honored yourself and your values, because if you're saying my value is I'm a loyal person, I'm a ride or die, I take care of people, people can depend on me. Well, you're not honoring yourself by sticking to your values when you're cheating, okay? And you're not honoring me when you're cheating on me, okay? So I like that. And then allowance. Allowance is my favorite one because I'm a firm believer in meeting people where they are. We're not in the people changing business, honey. Like, we don't change people. We don't change dogs. We don't, nothing. That is not our lane. That's the Lord's. So, intimacy with a partner means giving them the allowance to be who they are, where they are in the season of their life. And same thing for you. Like, they give you the allowance to be you, be who you are in the season of your life. And they don't expect you to do anything else. And that kind of bleeds over into the trust aspect, because trust is trusting that your partner's always going to do what's best for them. And when I talk to like older people and they're like, you have to know that a man is always going to do what's best for him. And it kind of made me think about that. It's like, trust, having intimacy with your partner and trusting that they're going to do what's best for them and they're going to trust that you do what's best for you. And I think when it comes to this dating part of our life, that's a very important takeaway, is because just how we as women were like, well, a man's going to do what's best for him no matter what. We should do that for ourselves. Like, we should trust ourselves and trust the decisions that we make and do what's best for us, because they're going to do what's best for them and they're going to trust that we're going to do what's best for us. And I remember I dated someone and that's what he said. He's like, well, I trust that you're going to do what's best for you. And I was just like, what the? What does that mean? Like, this is a whole freaking relationship. Like, that's a cop out. But he was actually correct. Like, if what's best for me is him, and he views that I'm what's best for him, then we trust that we're going to do what's best for each other together because we're what's best for each other. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. In my mind, it made sense. All right, y'all. I am in a crazy time zone and I have a headache. So it's probably time for me to go to bed, even though it's bright outside. But if you stay to the end of this video, I greatly appreciate it. And I'm going to call you to action. This is my call to action right now. Okay, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. And this book is a 10 out of 10, but I do not recommend. Like, do not try to buy this book on Amazon. The important stuff I just told y'all. Okay, this ain't it.